Honorable Vice Chancellor, Excellency, Ambassador of Egypt to India, respected Dean, School of Language, Literature and Cultural Studies, colleagues, friends and students. I have been honored to speak a few words about this novel, which is in Arabic, Ajnihatul Farasha, which is Butterfly Wings. Frankly, I had not read this novel, but when my colleague Dr. Kutubuddin asked me to write a few lines about the book, introducing the book, I had to finish it in a one night. It is so absorbing. And I now wish to read the original version. I read his translation, which was very flowing, very beautiful translation. So here are a few words about the book. Muhammad Salmawi is an Egyptian poet, playwright, journalist, novelist, president of the Writers' Union in Egypt, and a former Secretary General of the Arab Writers' Union. He was born in Egypt in 1955. The Center of Arabic and African Studies had invited him in 2015 to deliver the Najib Mahfouz, a special lecture on the occasion of International Arabic Language Day in December 2015. The present novel, Ajnihatul Farasha, published in 2011 in Arabic and translated into English by Raphael Cohen 3 years later with the title Butterfly Wings, represents Salmawi's fictional response to the protests that led to the overthrow of Hosni Mubarak's regime. The novel created a storm when it was first published in Arabic because it depicted the events in almost exactly the same manner as the events of the 25th January revolutions unfolded later. The novel ends with the victory of the nationwide protesters, largely concentrated on the Tahrir Square, the epicenter of the revolutions, in bringing down the despotic, corrupt, selfish, and highly unpopular regime and replacing it with an interim government of the progressive and democratic forces that represented the popular will of the people of Egypt who were in the forefront of the revolution. Muhammad Salmawi constructs a narrative that encompasses both the rights and disparate lives of three important figures, namely Ashraf, Zoha, and Ayman. Two plots run parallel in the story without coming across each other. Zoha is a fashion designer and wife of a senior leader in the ruling party and leads an unhappy and unfulfilled married life. Her husband is a minister in the government. She is heading for Italy to participate in a fashion show. In the plane, she meets Ashraf, a university professor and prominent political activist opposing the ruling party. Though initially reluctant to engage with him in any conversation, meaningful conversation, Ashraf succeeds in drawing the attention and later her admiration through his sincerity and commitment to the objective of purifying the polity through his struggles. They meet at various places in Italy, and by the time they are back to Egypt, Zoha finds herself take a plunge in the national struggle by participating in the agitations at Tahrir Square, where Ashraf is a real leader. Both Ashraf and Zoha are arrested by the police, but the success of popular uprising leads to their freedom, eventually making Zoha take divorce from his important husband, and finally Ashraf and Zoha find fulfillment of their love, which coincides with the freedom of Egypt from despotic rule and establishment of an interim government representing the popular will. The third protagonist, Ayman, also is an unfulfilled youth whose world comes crashing down on him upon discovering that the lady whom he considered his own mother is not his natural mother. She is only the wife of his father. His frantic search for his mother leads him to Tanta, where he meets his natural mother and thus finds happiness and a meaning to his life. His elder brother Abdul Samad is busy in his own world of making quick fortunes by marrying a rich lady from Kuwait with whom he got acquainted through an internet site. However, Abdul Samad gets duped of 5,000 Egyptian pound in the process and feels devastated. He is least bothered about finding their mother. Although both the plots rarely meet, the trials of the characters of Salmawi seem to reflect the tribulations of the nation in general and their success in finding their happiness, which reflects the nation's quest for a true freedom. Butterfly Wings is therefore a novel of various tales of personal upheaval within the wider, more complex framework of national turmoil. We read wondering not only how each of Salmawi's strands will be spliced together, but also to what extent individual ordeals will unify into shared tales. The butterflies have been extensively used as a motif in the novel. For Ayman, his lady love Salwa is a white butterfly symbolizing innocence and purity. Just as he gets close to the truth about his mother, I quote, "It lifts off like a butterfly." Zohar designs dresses inspired by butterflies and especially Egyptian butterflies, identifies with them and vows to take control of her life. Critics point to the overuse of butterfly by Salmawi, but we must not miss the point that the author seems to have drawn on the butterfly to signify Egypt's quest for a rebirth of her political and social life, butterfly being, as we are told, signifying rebirth. The lessons from this beautiful novel, and of course in the context of the Egyptian society, can be drawn as follows. The novel, just to brief you, as the cover page claims, the novel that predicted 25 January revolution in Egypt, and it is one of the best-selling novels in Egypt and has been translated to several languages, including English, as I told you. So the lessons in the context of Egypt, the context of the story can be drawn as such. There are opportunistic people in the society that overlook the just demands of the society and side with the tyrant and oppressive rulers, but ultimately they have to exit, they have to go. The forces of oppression, suppression and injustice have a shorter shelf life. They can't withstand the might of the popular will, provided it takes the form of a hurricane or a tornado that has the ability to uproot the forces of evil, no matter how mighty might appear the tyrant. Who could have imagined 10 years ago that the mighty regime of Hosni Mubarak would be overthrown by the people by their powerful collective struggle? The rulers must be sensitive to the wishes and sentiments of people, otherwise change is bound to take its own course. Only the people of conscience derive true satisfaction in life. The true satisfaction lies in empathy, sympathy, service of the people, and supporting the truth against the untruth of some who try to dominate every sphere of life. Thus, the novel Butterfly Wings is a beautiful novel that captures the tribulations and upheavals in the life of Egypt on the eve of Great Revolution of 2010. My colleague Dr. Muhammad Kutubuddin deserves appreciation and thanks for beautifully translating it into Urdu and presenting it to the wider audience in India. And I wish the same is translated in Hindi language also. I pray the translation receives the same popularity as its original in Arabic language. Thank you very much.